Before I begin, here is a thing I fucked up. I didn't even mention the name of the composer of Star Fox 2, which is Kazuo Ishikawa. I know she's not gonna fuck me, bro. I swear I didn't know she was a chick. In any case, a vagina haver has been mentioned. Pussy in bio. Don't check the description, it's not actually in there. So let's go ahead and get the composer out of the way now. His name is Hajime Hirasawa. A man. And for all you lovers of gay, he is not. But happy Pride Month anyway. PP in bio. Don't check the description. Lads and gentlegents, the moments where you nut but she keeps sucking. Alright, let's kick this off. If you're coming here to appreciate this OST with me, you know what Star Fox is. You don't need an intro, so I won't give you one. Star Fox was released in 1993, and Doki Doki Panic in Japan? Advanced graphics for the time, special chip that was used in like 3 games or something, had a cancelled sequel that wasn't released until 22 years later. There, you're up to speed. Now sit back as I discuss my hyperfixation. Link in the description to a playlist where you can reference the music I'm talking about and hear it in full as I'm talking about it. Minor disclaimer. I played this game a lot as a kid, but I only got good enough to beat 1.5 routes. There are songs in here that I have not heard, but we're rolling in order with the iconic tracks that you all know. Once again, I will be cherry picking. Sort of. Immediately turning on the game greets you to this foreboding intro. Battleships are coming into Corneria and Andros is attacking, or Andor because the Europeans are fucking weird sometimes. Which, unless you read the manual back in the day, you don't know about Andros at all. Not until you confront him at the end of the game. The title kicks in and it's like, oh yeah baby, this is Star Fox. Then you get a feeling that you're experiencing the vastness of space as the music quickly changes and becomes very mysterious. Next we have the controls menu, which is delightfully simple. It's playing the game's main motif, which you'll hear quite a bit going through. And I'm not gonna lie, I think one of the best ways to experience this game's OST is to actually just play the game. Like, at least the easy route. The training minigame helps you get used to the 3D controls. It has a nice upbeat track that reminds you that the entire soundtrack isn't just gonna be a space orchestra. Most of it is, but that's not the point. The route map is the main motif. Very shortened to the point, and I'm kind of realizing there seems to be a parallel to the Star Wars prologue. And, like, you know, it could switch over at any moment. Very good regardless. Okay, so Corneria is cool and all, but let's face it, this shit's overplayed and overdone at this point. It's the first level of the game, so it's gonna hype you up, so there's a great payoff. And if I'm real, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are going to be stepping off at this point because you never played the game, so you don't know any of the other tracks. I urge you to stay here anyway. I also urge you to like and subscribe because apparently if I don't say that, nobody's going to do it. Prove me wrong or prove me right, I don't care. I have no idea what the samples are at the beginning of the Corneria boss music. I always assumed it was the noise that the boss itself was making. And a hell of an entrance it makes because it doesn't start fighting you until the music kicks in. I'm sure I'm not the only one out there that used this boss to show off when other people were watching you play. Like, man, you're on the easy route, chill out. This one deserves to be translated to real instruments. If that's been done and not by gay metal, or gay metal, which is overrated and overproduced, I'll put the link in the description. Moving on to the asteroid belt, this is where things start to sound like a movie soundtrack. It could just as easily be Han Solo flying his Millennium Puzzle to duke it out with the Emperor Exodia. It's still pretty good though. It's a shame that the playlist I'm using doesn't even loop the song. The boss in the asteroid belt doesn't have very noteworthy music. It's cinematic, yes, but that's about all it's got going for it. One loop is like 20 seconds long. That's about as long as it takes to kill this boss if you bombard it with Nova Bombs. Space Armada I think is very beloved by most people. It's one of my favorites. And you could tell that the composer was well in touch with the developers, unlike Tim Follin writing for Pictionary. This is easily one of those fan favorites that isn't overplayed, which I appreciate and welcome. One problem though. The boss music fucking sucks. You don't spend a whole lot of time in here. But you're not stuck in here with the boss. You're stuck in here with that song. You definitely want to kick this guy's ass before you had to hear it too many times. Credit where it's due though, it's incredibly claustrophobic. Also, I always thought these sounds were part of the game, but it's actually a clever way to save up on sound channels. Next we have Meteor. We're back in the upbeats, and I'm actually quite fond of this song. It's another one of my favorites, but I don't know if it's a fan favorite necessarily. It's also where music starts to get kind of weird. This game does have its fair share of that, and we'll get to it later. For now, I better backpedal on calling it weird because that's more experimental in my opinion, and I think that there is a difference. Weird is doing something knowing that it's strange, while trying something new that might sound odd is experimental. Are those both the same things? Let me know in the comments. Next track, Sector X and Sector Z, I do find enjoyable, but it's one of those super cinematic tunes. It's worth pointing out that I appreciate the composer for not being a one-trick pony. He really knows how to set a mood. And for all the weird towers and spinny pinwheels you fly through in Sector X and probably Z, I don't know, I never got to that point. It matches the anxiety you'd feel. They hit the space towers. On Titania, things seem vaguely familiar. And that would be because it sounds like Meteor, but weirder. And yes, despite what I said about the difference between weird and experimental music, this is definitely weird on purpose. But it does have a good payoff. Somehow it's also groovy? I kinda like it. Following up, Titania's boss battle. I feel like I've heard a little bit of this, but not all of it. I might have vague memories of getting my ass handed to me by this thing and perhaps not getting any further. Keep an eye on Hootenanny Central because I think I know what I want to do next. Anyway, with enough time, the song actually kicks ass. And this is another one that should be translated to real instruments and expanded upon. Sector Y is an uneasy waltz. I don't believe I've been to this point in the game, and I've been hearing this song since listening to music through an MP3 player was a viable and respectable option. So at least 2012 or so. See, back in my day, if you couldn't afford the music and you were a dumb kid who didn't know how to torrent, you had to download every song that you wanted individually from YouTube and hope that the quality was good enough. Otherwise, you're stuck with whatever your mom and dad listened to, hoping that the CDs weren't too scratched to pull music from. There was a time that I didn't have an MP3 player and all I had were CDs, but that's a story for another day, and this has nothing to do with whatever is in Sector Y. Want to hear about it? Put it in the comments. Thank you. I like Fortuna. It's got a good beat. Another example of strange, experimental, weird possibly even, but it grooves. Way better than whatever the fuck they chose for the second game, that's for damn sure. Now I don't remember if it was this stage or Titania that had a weather system that you had to change properly in order to get through the level. All I remember is it was a planet with weird music because back then I was too young to know the difference between weird and experimental, of course. So it could have been Titania, but it might have been Fortuna, and maybe I did make it this far. Who knows? But that's for me to find out when I inevitably play this game again, because I, for some reason, feel the need to beat it now. Guess doing all this Star Fox music reviewing may have put me in a Star Fox mood. Who'd have thought? Okay, I think I had the answer to my inquiry from the previous paragraph. I got to Fortuna, couldn't figure out the whole weather system thing, and I never got to the boss. I would have remembered this cacophony, and that's what it is. It is an assault of drums with some melody leading it, but of course, that can't really prepare me for what this next track is. I never made it to this point, and like I said, this is now beyond where I made it. I straight up don't remember this, and this is weird music. Yeah, fuck Macbeth. It's weird. It does get kinda good though, and I won't deny that. It's that payoff thing. Wait, it gets good, says the friend you passed the aux cord. I like what this becomes. Them some good flutes. The Macbeth boss music blows. It is audio blue balls. Imagine hearing an extended version of this. You'd be sitting there waiting for it to get going, and it just never does. The ever mysterious black hole. There's a few places you can find this, and I think 2 are legitimate warps, and the other one takes you out of this dimension. Foreshadowing on a track that we'll get to in a bit. This is short, but it's okay because you don't hear it for more than a few moments. I always tried to enter the black hole as a kid, but I could never quite figure it out. I'd be down to try again. The awesome black hole does not have awesome music. From what I understand, you have to break the loop by doing something. I don't remember what that is. I think you fly through a silver ring or some shit, and then you end up in another route. I don't actually understand the point of this, nor do I understand whether or not it saves you any time in beating the game if you were, say, speedrunning. Is there any interesting history on Star Fox speedrunning? Should I be asking this many questions in my reviews? Let me know down in the comments. So fucking around with black holes too much will bring you out of this dimension. Nothing makes sense here and everything is silly, and it is absolutely reflected in the music. I'm pretty sure this song is real. Well, like, of course it's real, but I mean like a real life, real world song. You know, like at least a bastardized version of something that already exists. Surely one of you guys knows and should really let me know in the comments. Most definitely you've heard this song in memes or in some video game commentator's background while they're talking about something outrageous. And not to throw any shade, but let's face it, some do it better than others. And while I'm here, having depression and turning it into a joke is not as funny as you think it is. Not because depression is serious or something, but because I just don't think it's a funny joke, so shut the fuck up and stop making it. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes the makes lame joke or bad pun. Cricket sounds. Oh, it's not funny? I'll see my way out. The not funny joke is very much circular, and that it's not funny, and it's so not funny that it's still not funny by the time you're making fun of it. It just makes you embarrassing to watch, and now I can die peacefully while feeling like I made a big difference. The boss of Out of This Dimension is literally a slot machine. Meanwhile, the background is a medley of what appears to be classic tunes, and I can't quite put my finger on what the nursery rhyme is, but When the Saints Go Marching In is one of the songs. If there are any other songs that you can pull out of this boss music, please let me know in the comments. Beating this boss gives you the alternate ending where you're stuck in this purgatory forever. But let's pretend this never happened. You didn't touch the black holes. You continued on your way to Venom via Route 1 or 3. I know this one's a fan favorite. And it was also used in Super Smash Bros. Melee and translated to real instruments. Small tidbit about Melee, they used an orchestra for a number of songs in the game, and something about this song just sounds so good. Perhaps you almost forget that it was compressed down, and that really shows how so much of this OST translates so well to real instruments. Venom Route 2 is somehow even more intense. Why this wonderful track only plays on Route 2, I have no idea. Because I know before you get to Venom, you have to travel through its airspace, so this would have been great for either the ground or the air. This track, I feel, overshadows the boss music here, which is short but intense. There's 2 versions of this, and they both have a different intro, which I'll play both intros in succession before playing the actual song in this video. Tell me how it sounds, and let me know in the... I think this should be expanded upon lightly, with some flourishes here or there. For some reason, I've got a weird headcanon, perhaps some sort of Mandela effect, of remembering a flourish that wasn't there. That, of course, being the result of wanting it to be there so bad that it is. I don't compose video game music, but if I did, I would do it differently. And so says everyone. The beginning of the battle with Andross is incredibly bass heavy. If you have a subwoofer, which I totally don't, please don't break into my car, ooh, it's going to fucking rumble. The rest of the song won't. And despite it being the last battle, it's intense but overstays its welcome in my opinion. The second game did it better. Way better. And by the way, have you noticed how Andross's face and hands appear on the game over screen, but you just fight a robotic mask-looking thing in-game? What's up with all that? In the second game, it's actually his face that appears after you beat the first part, of course. But I don't understand what actually happened by the end of the game. Like, did they run out of ideas? There were a lot of unique bosses leading up to the robot face, bat face, and face the cube. I just get this weird suspicion that the spinning cube thing was a tech demo and they just decided to keep it. Like, they played this far, they're not going to quit now. Returning to Corneria is very celebratory, as it should be. There's probably a better word for it, but it's not coming to mind at the moment. But of course, this isn't the last we hear of things. Shortly after celebrating our victory here and your victory for making it through all of this, we get to hear the ending, which is more than just a bunch of words. You get to see all the bosses that you fought on the route, the specs and their weapons, so there is a little bit of replay value beyond just gameplay. And this is one of my favorite songs in the game. It might actually be my favorite song in the game. Easily the best use of the motif at this point. It makes me feel like I'm driving off into a picturesque space sunset. A wonderful conclusion to a wonderful game, and a reminder that good times were had by all. I'm pooped. All that's left now is the credits, which is kind of more of the same, but more dramatic. And I found an orchestra performance of this song, and I'm going to put that in the description if you want to see it. I would pad this part out and let the song finish as the outro to the video, but it's already questionable whether or not this video will stay up because Nintendo is oddly territorial about their music these days. So this is my stop, unfortunately. If you want to see more of this, you know what to do. Make a suggestion. I wouldn't be opposed to going through a soundtrack I've never heard before. Catch y'all later.